Hey, this is Antonio. Welcome back to my channel. Now, who's ready for some fighting words? We got another one. Listen, things just changed for the better for Team Haney, and very potentially and possibly for a whole lot worse for Team Kambosos. Bill Haney is now with his son. And what does that mean? Well, it means hope. It means positive energy. It means hope. It means guidance. It means a lot. It's like a power surge into Team Haney. It means a whole lot. So during the whole promotion, the overall feel was, how is Devin going to cope without having his dad there? And for the most part, he's done very well. He's answered the questions. He was where he needed to be at all times. So I would give him an A plus for, what he had to do or what he was forced to do. However, I would say it definitely affected him not having his dad present. And yeah, he would have manned up in the moment of, if his dad were not able to make it to the fight in person. But you could clearly see that it affected him. This is the first press, press conferences. These are the first press conferences that I've seen with Devin Haney, where he wasn't more vocal. During these press conferences, he seemed very displaced. He seemed very resistant and hesitant. He didn't seem like he wanted to be there. And you look at him in other press conferences, he'll take full advantage of, just having cameras on him, having a microphone in front of his face, and having, the press present. In which case, you didn't see a whole lot of that with George Kambosos. Now, it could just be that he hates the sight of George Kambosos at this point. Possibly. And it is the biggest. However, this is definitely the biggest fight of his career and the biggest moment of his career thus far. I do believe he'll have more in the future, but at this moment, nothing's topping this. It's for Undisputed. And I didn't feel like Devin was fully taking advantage of the moment. I didn't feel like he was fully taking advantage of the buildup. I didn't feel like he was fully taking advantage of, realizing that his dreams will soon possibly be coming true of being undisputed. Yeah, he was saying, I want to be undisputed, but his overall body language was saying something else. It was saying, literally, I'm missing something. Something is not right. Something is a little off. And that thing was his father. Yes, his father is his coach, but he's also his father. So it means something. It means something to have your father present. And I gotta tell you, I listen, if I were a betting man, and I'm not, but if I were a betting man, I would say the tide has overwhelmingly shifted to Devin Haney. I believe he was the favorite already, but I mean, now with that new found resurgence in the whole entire camp, especially in son, to have father and son back together again. The team is whole. The team has its brain back. It might even have its nucleus back. They might be the heart. Bill Haney might be the heart. I mean, you see overall the reception, and you see how happy they are. I haven't seen Devin smile one bit during his whole promotion. He's smiling now. Yeah, he's smiling now. His joy has arrived, and now he's going to put on and show out. So now, okay, Devin Haney is still in enemy territory. That is true. However, it's different now. The tide has changed. Yeah, you're in enemy territory, and yeah, there's going to be thousands of people chanting very unnice things to you and very, very upbeat and positive things to your opponent so that he could do those things to you. But now you have direction. Now you have someone who knows you through and through. And yes, that's gonna play a huge difference and a huge factor. And to be honest with you, it's just like, look at the time that Bill Haney has arrived. It's like a day before the fight. Yes, Christmas just came early for Devin Haney. And yes, I think he's going to show out. Yes, I think he's probably ecstatic. And it may not look so great for George Kambosos. Um, Prior to Bill Haney arriving, honestly, I was thinking, George could possibly edge this out. I don't think George is a better fighter than Devin Haney, but I definitely don't think he's a better thinker in the ring than Devin Haney. But I do believe just having those belts and getting them the way that George Kambosos got them, I think just the ideology of having the belts and becoming a unified champion makes you a better fighter. And I believe if you believe that you are a better fighter, you will fight better. So that's for George Kambosos. And it just so happened that, Devin was already not 100% in terms of his emotions. Yeah, he can will that out. He could definitely eke out a victory over Devin Haney. But now with Bill being here, I don't know. I'm gonna have to go with Devin Haney. I'm gonna say this. I already thought that Devin Haney was a smarter fighter than George Kambosos. I already think that. I already thought that. I also think that Devin Haney can adjust much better than George Kambosos. Okay, so that's two reasons right there. I think he's stronger. And I'm not talking about power punching or anything. I'm just talking about physically. I think he's stronger. I think he's going to give... I feel like the biggest thing about this fight, how it's going to play out, is going to be the pace. George Kambosos is like the road runner. Like this dude is like 100 miles an hour. And he fights off emotion. He's a very emotional fighter. Like he's always angry when he gets in there. He's an angry guy. And I don't necessarily know if his anger is going to work in his favor against Devin Haney. Devin Haney already kind of has a style or a way of fighting that is kind of tailored and geared toward more aggressive guys. And I don't necessarily know if George Kambosos' anger and ferocity and, if ferocious shows up, ferocious George Kambosos shows up, I don't know if that's going to work in his favor that well. I think George definitely needs to bring the heat. I think he needs to bring it early. And I think he definitely needs to throw all those combinations. But at the same time, I think he needs to gauge when and where to do it, as opposed to his fights in the past, where every round is 130% and every round is a million punches. Every round, George Kambosos is in your face. He's the type of guy who will, he will will himself through something. And George will take punishment to give punishment. Devin's not that guy. He's not going to take punishment to give punishment. That's why I say this fight, I feel like at the base level, it's all about the punch output. I feel it's all about the pace of the fight. If the guys go into this fight on cruise control, Devin Haney's going to mop the floor with George Kambosos, because you're going to give him time to think about what he wants to do. Now, if this fight is like a NASCAR race, well then I'm not going to say I slightly lean towards George Kambosos because of that. But I think he does have a mentality that he's okay with pain. Like he's already made up in his mind, I'm going to get hurt. And it's worth it if I can hurt you back. As opposed to Devin Haney saying, I'm going to win. I'm going to win. And, I want to do it with the least amount of punishment possible. That will be for my reserves if I need to just pull that out, or if I need to go through a little fire, a little storm, a little, thunderstorm. I'll do that. That is a great option B, but it's not option A. Option A is I control this fight. Option A is ring generalship. Option A is I set traps. Option A is a lot of feinting. Option A is I back him up. Option A, I walk him down. Option A, counter punching. And then worst case scenario, we're in the deep. It's round 10, 11, 12. And I might have to go in those reserves and yeah, okay, then fine. It'll be a dogfight, but it's not going to be a dogfight for 9 rounds. It's going to be a dogfight for 2 to 3 rounds. I don't think they're the same guy. I think Devin Haney is a highly competitive fighter. And I think George Kambosos can sometimes be a little reckless in his ferociousness. Sometimes to be a great boxer, you have to know when to back down, or you have to know when to back off, or just momentarily retreat. And there's nothing wrong with that. You just need to know when to, all right, this isn't going so well. I need to regroup and I need to refigure some things out. When the round starts back up, because things ain't going that well. But I don't think George Kambosos is that guy. I really don't think he's that guy. And because of that, I'm gonna have to give it to Devin. And I just feel like I've been feeling like it's gonna be a body shot from Devin. That I don't know if it will keep George down, but I do know it will put George down. I just feel strongly that it's a body shot. And we're gonna see. I once again, the stakes are even higher now because George is at home. He's got thousands of supporters and loved ones and friends, family, his children, his wife. And then you have Devin and his family. His dad is here, and his dad just saved the day. I personally feel like dad just saved the day. And one of the things that I'm really excited about this fight happening is when the fight is over, because I want to hear in the post-fight interview how much Devin's dad being there meant to Devin. I think it's a beautiful thing to see family and to break this family apart. It's not just a family. They're business partners. You know what I'm saying? They're not just family. So it is a little touching, to see that, wow, Bill made it, and that just shows the love that he has for his son, that he wasn't going to give up, and I'm really happy to see that they are united. And also, listen, the reality is, people, let's look at it like this. Let's just say that Devin were to lose the fight. You know how easy it would be for Devin to say, well, listen, my dad wasn't there, and, I just didn't feel it, he's the guy in the camp who keeps the energy and, whatever. He's the guy who comes up with the game plan. He's the guy who does this. He's the guy who does that. And, he's my dad. He's been with me every step of the way since I was born. And now I don't see him. This is the first time I'm going to look over to the ring post and not see my dad there. It's not a bad argument. It's not a bad argument. I'm sorry. It's not a bad argument. And trust me, we've heard worse arguments. Deontay Wilder said, his suit was heavy. It did look heavy. I'm not going to knock it. It did look heavy. But I don't know. You are a world-class athlete. And on top of that, I like to think that you tried it on before you showed up to the venue. I don't know. But this is a pretty reasonable reason for a loss. If your dad wasn't there and you were missing your dad, and it was the first time that you had a fight that your dad wasn't there, it's a pretty reasonable thing to say. I can't really knock it or be mad at it if Devin were to use that as an excuse. On the flip hand side, it just kind of came to me. What if, George Kambosos says, I had this thing in the bag and then Bill showed up? That would be wild. But I seriously doubt it. I don't think he would utterly give him the satisfaction of saying something like that. Trust me, Devin alone wouldn't let that down. Devin is like one of the ultimate, Instagram trolls. So I definitely don't think he would do that. But it's kind of funny, I'm sorry. I am leaning towards Devin Haney. I really feel like there's going to be a body shot, and I feel like it's going to be sustained body work. I feel like Devin's going to push him back. Devin's definitely bigger, physically stronger. In terms of punch power, they might pretty much be even. But Devin's definitely the stronger of the two. And I just see him winning this fight. I think another thing, just with Bill coming at the time that he came, it's one thing if you've been there since day one. It's one thing if Bill had been in Australia the whole entire time, and he had been there in camp the whole entire time, and they explored Australia together, and that's one thing. But to come the day before and come as a ray of hope, one, that's pretty amazing, and what a story to tell, right? What a story to tell. What if, Devin wins and it's just like, that's a story to tell. That's really a story to tell. I didn't have my dad there, and, because the reality is, yeah, you feel how you feel when you're training, and you feel how you feel when you're in front of your opponent. But it's something else when, you go to bed and you sit and your thoughts are playing in the back of your mind. It's like, well, he looked pretty good today, or he looked strong in his little open workout, or, I wonder what my dad's doing. I hope the family back home is okay. I hope they're watching me. I hope they're supporting me. I hope they got me in their prayers. But if they're there, you don't have to ask those questions. Your mind will not be clouded by those things because they'll be there with you. So does it matter? Oh, it matters. Does Bill Haney's presence matter? Yes, it does. Will Bill Haney's presence affect the fight? Yes, it will. I personally think it already has. I'm curious to see George Kambosos now. It would be something else if there was one more press conference where I could look at his body language sitting across the table from Bill and his son, united, coming for you. Yeah. So this is gonna be a good one. I want to say again, George Kambosos is no walk in the park. I am not saying this is gonna be an easy fight for Devin Haney. I think he's gonna have to fight for it. I think it's gonna be ugly. I think somebody's gonna get a cut. I think somebody's getting knocked down. There might be multiple knockdowns, maybe two or three at best. But that's what I'm feeling. I feel like there's going to be a knockdown. I feel like it's going to come from a body shot. I feel like Devin's going to be the one delivering that body shot. I also feel like George Kambosos, I think, listen, back to the psychology of things. He's constantly calling Devin a little boy. He is younger than him, but still, I think there's something inside of George that says, I'm gonna control the ring tonight. You better back that up, because that little boy is bigger than you. You're gonna have to back that up. You got the combinations of George, Kambosos, but you got the strength of Devin. You got that pressure of Devin, but you got those angles of Kambosos. I still feel like George is faster. I really do. I feel like he's faster. But I feel like Devin has better fighting instincts. And I'm just talking about reflexes. I feel like he has better reflexes. George, you see, that's the thing when you fight emotionally. When you fight emotionally, it doesn't always look that good. And the reality is, it's not choreographed up here. There's no cadence to it. You're just reacting. Devin is a very type of fighter. He's very paced. He's very coordinated. Now, maybe George Kambosos can get him out of that coordination, or maybe he'll get caught up in the coordination, in which case it's not going to be a fun night for George. But overall, that's my prediction. My prediction is it's going to be stopped from a body shot from Devin Haney. I feel like the resurgence of Bill Haney has saved the day. I really do. I think the tide has been completely washed over on the Haney side. Yeah. I think we're going to see a lot more energetic Devin Haney. Before, it was strictly business. Now, it's a dream come true. And the story the story is not ended yet. But man, like, did somebody swoop in and save the day? Shout out to Bill Haney for wanting to be with his son. Not just his fighter, but his son. I'm looking forward to this fight. That's my prediction. I got Devin Haney. I got the fight getting stopped. I don't see a knockout or anything, but I see maybe, like I said, a body shot. Maybe he goes down twice from it or something like that. Somebody's throwing in a towel. Or maybe the referee just calls it quits. That would be insane because, again, look at where they're at. So that would be insane. And I feel for the guy who would plan on throwing a towel in. But that's what I feel. I really feel like it's going to be a body shot. So I got to give it to Devin Haney. I feel like he's going to win this fight. But tell me what you think. We still got some time left. So tell me what you think. You believe Devin Haney's going to win? And if so, how do you believe Devin Haney's going to win? Do you believe that George Kambosos is going to win? Do you believe that George Kambosos having the mentality of a unified champion, looking in the mirror, wearing those belts, has made him a superior fighter? I personally believe it does. But is that enough against the presence of father and son being reunited? We're going to find out. Drop your comments down below. As always, please like, please share, please subscribe to my channel.